I think we've reached a point in the NFL to where we're finally seeing the coaching actually kind of catch up to the athlete. Now let me explain some of this, because I went over the video where I talked about spread concepts and the introduction of air raid offenses to the NFL, mixed in with some of this option-based zone read stuff and kind of spread concepts. And it's not hard to go back and remember some of the names that have come and gone through the NFL. You know, your Tim Couches, your Graham Harrells, you know, your Cliff Kingsbury. All those guys that had really crazy numbers in college, but never really amounted to anything in the NFL. Kevin Cobb's in that group of these air raid style quarterbacks that it didn't work out, right? Then you have the more the option-based guys who were working inside of RPO systems that actually factored into the run game, right? Guys who got you +1 in the run game back in the day. You know, the Pat Whites, the Tim Tebow's. I would even say Marcus Mariota belongs in this discussion, to be quite honest. But now what we're seeing is a combination of truly unique athletes, and I do think that these young men deserve credit for breaking some of the trend here, but also I think you're starting to see NFL minds learn how to actually encompass and incorporate offensive concepts to kind of match with the skill set of the players. I think that's why you're seeing guys like, let's be real, Nick Foles. Why did Nick Foles all of a sudden explode for the Eagles? Well, because they started using RPO-based stuff so he could see the field, spread it out, and then start doing what he can do best, which is space teams out and then pick them apart. You know, you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes coming out of Texas Tech, air raid, played for Cliff Kingsbury, right? Definitely part of that spread concept. He's a guy that can also be a +1 in the running game when he wants to be that guy. He's unique in the fact that if you allow him to space you out, he will pick you apart, and he can throw from really weird arm angles and all those things, right? So now what we're seeing with, you know, the Jalen Hurts and the Josh Allens and all these guys kind of coming through now who are able to be +1 in the running game, and they're able to create these, you know, space-based offenses that are almost impossible to defend. All right, guys, I'm going to go over a couple plays I see in this to show you just the maturity of Jalen Hurts and where he's at and why this offense is so ridiculously difficult to stop, although it's really a handful of plays that keep recycling for you. All right, y'all, let's get it. What's up, Cerebral football fans? My name is Steven Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. So I know this is kind of a difficult concept because some of you guys are just like, man, I really hate the fact that, like, it isn't that hard to game plan for the Eagles because you kind of know the plays they're going to run. But I'm going to say, yeah, you might know the plays, but you don't know the exact formations. You don't know the exact wrinkles they're going to add to it. Like, there's ways of taking the same play and dressing it up differently to where it catches you off guard. And I think one of the first plays to show you is a really good example of when you're taking spread concepts, right? So we're talking what I would call sail. It's a sail concept, but, you know, you can even hear on video, I think it was Troy Aikman says, like, oh, this is a 7 to 9 route that gets read perfectly. And basically what this is a sail means it's a high-low concept with three players flooding the side of a field. So you got a flats player, you got a 7, which is going to be your corner route, and then you have that 9, you know, that fade, the guy who can go kind of a skinny post, or he can just go like a fade and just keep going downfield. When you see these kind of concepts and you see the way that Jalen Hurts has matured as a quarterback and the fact that he's such a, you know, a difficult guy to defend, man, he is one of the absolute best deep ball touch passers in the NFL. You don't need to have the strongest arm. You just need to have an adequately strong arm, you know, an arm that can make the throw, and then you need to have touch on the ball. And he has those two things together. And you can see right here from this play, yeah, this is just a basic sail concept to where they're reading that corner, they're reading that safety, and Jalen has advanced his game enough to where if he sees you make a mistake out there, he now has the tools to take advantage of you. He now has the tools to beat you over the head with some of the concepts. And I think this is a major development in his game. And this is hard to defend when you got a guy that has enough time to go back there and see it, and is seeing it, and has the arm talent, the ability to beat you off of it. The next play I want to show you, this is just basic verts, right? Now, there's different ways of running verts. There's different concepts to verts, right? There's different packages with verts, right? I mean, you have zebra, which is normally like 11 or 10 personnel is normally called zebra, right? Deuces is 12 personnel from verts. But the concepts are the same, right? You got 4 players going vertically. Generally speaking, their routes are going to go above 18 yards. So when you see these concepts, I mean, it's easy to look at the field, see the verts concept, and then just kind of pick out what each player's responsibility is. You normally have a 3-read progression inside of verts. The first thing you're going to need to know is that most of the time, verts are intended to attack the middle of the field. So you're going to need to know who your bender is. Look to the screen, okay? And then you're going to need to know, basically, like, what is the progression of the read? So if your bender's here, okay, now you have an outside player here, so he will be the kind of like the check. He's the guy, if Jalen Hurts is out there and he goes alert, that's because he likes the matchup out there, right? Or if he sees that guy get on top of that corner, he's going to take his chance. And then the third read is normally going to be down to the back. Now, there are going to be some, occasions where, depending on the type of coverage that's being run, the back could become the second read, to be honest. But generally speaking, you're going to go to the seams, to the outside, to the check down. Now it's just a matter of you look at the field and you have to ask yourself, where and why are you throwing the ball? Why is the read being made? And that's the tough part on any assignment. And when you see a throw like I'm about to show you right now, which is a VERTS concept, to where Jalen Hurts is throwing to the field side over 20 yards. I'm sorry, guys, but that is a guy that has a very talented arm. This is a guy who can place the football where only his guy can go get it. This is a crazy, crazy good pass here. Like, I understand the concepts, guys. I did this in high school myself. I did this coaching other guys myself. But the facts are, like, there's only a handful of guys, in the world right now who are able to make that throw, and they play on Sundays. And even of the guys who play on Sundays, there's only a few of them who are going to make that field side. I mean, you're talking about a very, very small sample size of guys that's throwing that ball field side like that. Now, I'm going to show you, same as that concept, right? You have a VERTS concept here. So everything's going to be the same, right, with the 1, 2, 3. It's just a matter of why Jalen Hurts makes the decision to go either boundary side or field side. This time, same concept, but he's going to go A.J. Brown. Now, I'm going to tell you can't see this the greatest because this is just a TV copy. So I can't tell you exactly why he's doing it, but I can make an assumption here, which is he must have looked and saw my receiver went even, and if my guys go even, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, I'm giving them a chance at the football. That's what I think's going on here, is that he's reading the safety play. He sees that, okay, like the middle of the field's it's been taken away here. So what I have to do here is I'm going to have to go ahead and I'm going to make a play to them outside my alerts. Because you're either going to go to your alert on the outside or you're going to go down to your check down. Which, when you have DeAndre Swift now and a Kenneth Gainwell being those checkdowns, guys that can make you miss in space, that checkdown, by the way, could also turn into be quite a big play. I mean, that little checkdown, if a guy breaks one tackle, can be 15, 20 yards easily. So, you look at the concepts, you see everything that's going on here. This is the advancement of his game. These aren't difficult concepts. These are simply just spread concepts. These are, when you go empty back set, so you'll see here some elements of the Air Raid where they're going empty back set inside the red zone. They're running basically a 2 to what I would call 7 route. So basically you got a slant route that's being kind of built in against like a skinny post here by Devontae Smith. The defense should have been alert that on your boundary side you got AJ and Devontae together. Should have been a pretty dang good giveaway to, they're playing off of your coverage here. But you got a 3-on-2 coverage. So someone's getting coned. So the decision's pretty dang easy for Jalen Hurts here. Whoever they cone to, whether it's the outside or the inside player, I'm going to the opposite player. As soon as they cone to Devontae Smith, bracket him, guys. He's throwing the ball on that slant, and it's a touchdown. Like, it's the advancement. These aren't hard concepts. They're not. They're really not. I mean, I could take any of you guys, run film for you, and I could teach you all these concepts in about an hour or two where you'd be pretty comfortable diagnosing it. These aren't hard to pick up on. But it's the subtleties of when you play the position, when you coach the position, that you start to see, like, throwing a vert to the outside on the field side. Like, I mean, guys, that's freaking nuts. Like, generally speaking, it's highly ill-advised of a quarterback to do that. You're in the upper tier of guys. Most of us try to make that throw. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The ball's getting picked off. That ball's going to flutter. It's going to hang. It's really difficult to throw that ball over 25 yards from, going field side like that on the outside. Like, that is a very, very difficult pass to make. It's probably why Washington felt pretty secure that they had good enough positioning that throw wasn't going to be made. They were wrong. That throw was made. And you will see these concepts the Eagles do down on the red zone to where, kind of going back to the idea of like how they take advantage of space, how they manipulate space. You'll see that they use A.J. Brown. They kind of bring him across the formation. They manipulate the space. They dump A.J. Brown off. We see Donovan Wilson makes a business decision not to make a tackle here on A.J. Brown. Then I can show you another play. They do this with Dallas Goedert. They bring Dallas Goedert across the formation like that. They dump the ball off them. These are all things that no matter who the offensive coordinator is, all these guys have called these plays before. I can show you a million examples of Brian Johnson doing this at Florida. So he did this with his running backs and his tight ends. You look at a guy like DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift could be impacted in that. Kenneth Gainwell could be impacted in that. Devontae Smith can do that. A.J. Brown can do that. You know what I mean? Dallas Goedert can do that. So, I mean, you will see these concepts, guys. I mean, these are the concepts that I think are kind of the staples of the offense, and it's just matchup ball. It's look, we're going to execute this better than you, and we have a quarterback that we trust to be able to read what your coverage is and then know where to go to beat the coverage. I think that they're not trying to make this overly difficult. And I think it's paying off. I think it's paying dividends because Jalen Hurts' growth and maturation has allowed us to be able to do this. You know, these are things that you kind of wished back in the day when you had some of these other guys that they would have built the protection. And make no mistake about it, the Great Wall of Philadelphia is a pretty big reason why we can do these things to teams. But, you know, if you build your protection and then you have a quarterback that's putting in the work the way that Jalen Hurts is putting in the work, it's going to work out for you, man. I don't know how else to say that. I mean, it's absolutely going to work out for you if a guy's putting in this kind of work. And you can see the maturation of this player when it comes to reading leverage, reading the actual coverage, and then basically how to manipulate and take advantage of it. It's a masterclass in how to develop a guy. It's a masterclass in, you know, any player who's coming up through the league that's being told that you run a college-style offense and you're not going to make it in the league. Well, I mean, we're watching guys now make it in a league that those same arguments were made. Patrick Mahomes, that argument was made. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. That argument was made. He was a college quarterback, right? You know, Jalen Hurts, he's a college quarterback. Well, those dudes are winning. The bottom line is these guys are now winning in the league. All right, y'all, I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see you guys on the next video.